Yeah, so we're here in my apartment. You're in Portland. You've been here for a while. I think probably a lot of people even... It seems kind of... I'm sure some people out there are thinking, you're in some other country right now, but you've been in Portland now for what, like a month or two? A month?
No, maybe closer to 3 months.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, because I flew back from Tajikistan to here. And it was I think it was like late June.
All right, so you've been here in Portland now for like about 3 months?
Yeah, 3.5, maybe 4.
Yeah, so, how are you liking the city so far?
I like Portland. I have my likes and dislikes. I wish it was a little more multicultural, but I mean, you can't have it all.
Yeah.
But as far as BMX goes, I think being here in the summertime is one of the best places you could be.
Yeah, definitely.
What's there, like 40 parks within?
There's like literally like I think we figured out one day if like within a half hour of Portland you can hit like 20 skate parks. I mean, they're not all amazing, but a lot of them, we're spoiled up here. Some of them that I'll be like, I don't really want to go there.
Yeah.
If you dropped it off in another city, people would be really excited,
So you all are definitely spoiled in terms of great skate parks.
Yeah.
I mean, you said there's over 20?
Within a half hour of Portland. So.
I don't remember riding 20 skate parks within 10 hours of my house.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, it definitely was like that back in the day. I think since all the park builders, are from here, the cities and stuff they just keep popping them out. Sometimes the smallest city here has like the most epic or crazy skate park.
Yeah. But like in Newburgh.
Yeah. Tiny little town. Big skate park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that park's pretty awesome. Yeah, you can go to even smaller towns. There's towns like that don't even have 1,000 people that have a skate park.
Holly Farm Park.
Yeah, that one's good.
Yeah. That's a one-man park.
Looks like a little ear.
Yeah. See, it does.
It looks like an ear. It looks like if you laid an ear on its side.
Yeah.
So, but that park's fun. But yeah, the city here in the summer, I mean, I definitely am biased because I've lived here. But, I think you can do pretty much whatever you want. Like, there's good food. The weather's pretty much, I think, perfect for summertime.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you.
There's no humidity, so... I mean, coming from, you grew up in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
And there's mad humidity out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's definitely different than that, but it's a good city, so...
Definitely, it's more enjoyable to be over here in the summertime than it is back on the East Coast. East Coast is way too humid. I mean, you adapt to it, but out here, there's more to do in terms of being outdoors.
Yeah,
So
definitely,
if you're an outdoorsy person, I mean, there's mountains, there's waterfalls, there's craters, there's everything you can imagine within like an hour or two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the ocean's like just a little over an hour. You can be the mountains in an hour. You can be the desert in an hour. But yeah, like there's craters. There's a bazillion waterfalls.
Yeah.
And you want to go jump off, some cliffs into some waterfalls. This is the spot to do it. So, but yeah, kind of like, so you grew up right in Maryland. I know when I saw you kind of coming up, I always thought you were like Baltimore area, but you're actually from...
I'm from Southern Maryland, Waldorf.
Okay.
Which is about 45 minutes from Baltimore.
Okay.
But people generally associate me with New York City. I'm not from New York City. I spent a lot of time there, and that's where I tell anyone that's where I really developed my street style.
Yeah. When you were growing up, so you were like 45 minutes from Baltimore, did you like go out to I'm having a brain blank on what's that park?
Lansdowne?
Yeah, where Mike Forney always... Did you used to ride that when you were younger?
I rode Lansdowne one time, and I think I was 14.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the most intimidating place ever.
I mean, it kind of is in a weird way, like you see what people have done. I mean, it's definitely a weird, unique old park.
I was like 14, and I had very little experience riding skate parks.
Yeah.
Or ramps and jumps, so I was just racing and riding trails.
Yeah.
So going there, I looked at, I saw a bunch of just huge rollers and gaps and these old snake runs. I was just cruising around, but I didn't really know what.
Were there people there riding? Because I know that place was kind of weird back then, like like in the 90s and stuff.
Just the people that I went there with.
Okay.
Yeah, the people that took me there, I went there with. Let me see. friend Randy Carfrin, John Saunders runs.
Yeah, I know
Can you dig it?
Yep.
John. It's got Chris Wells who works at a bike shop, and maybe some other guys.
Yeah.
It was just a big road trip. We went all through Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and I rode Posh and got to meet Joe Rich and what's his name, Jay Lonergan.
Yep.
That was like my first road trip with some. Like,
And you said you were just racing and riding trails at the time?
I was 14.
What year was that?
When I was 14.
What was that? Early?
I want to say no. 2000.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you? Because I think a lot of people when I think a lot of people when they look at you and look at what they see you riding most is mainly street. Coming up, you really were more. You rode trails and you rode transition a lot, didn't you?
Yeah, that's what I rode 90% of the time.
Yeah. What did you start riding as a racer? Or how'd you kind of get into riding?
I got into riding with my uncle.
Oh, did your uncle rode?
Uncle, yeah, Mark Thompson. He was a pro racer.
Oh, nice.
He started off. He came up to the house one day. Kind of funny story.
Yeah.
And I saw him on a bike. He had a dyno NSX.
Okay.
And I looked at it. He got on, just kind of pedaled around, and just jumped a few curbs. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "It's my new thing, man. I'm riding bikes." And I was like, "Let me try it." So I got on his bike and I did a little bunny hop. I could instantly do bunny hops. That wasn't a problem for me. I just did like
that was definitely a problem for me when I was younger.
So it was like I did like a little 2 or 3 inch hop, and I jumped the curb, and I went to practice that day. And
what type of practice?
Football. I went to football practice, and it was never the same after that. I was there running. I was a player that never left the field. I was a linebacker.
Yeah.
And a running back.
Yeah.
So when the offense was off the team, defense would go in. But I was that guy that stayed on the field all the time. And I think I went to like 4 more practices. Shortly after that, I quit riding and started riding bikes.
What was your first bike?
A Mongoose Racer X.
Oh, nice. So then you just started going the track with your uncle and...
Yeah, so I got on the track. I asked my mother if she can get me a bike. We went to Bike Doctor.
I remember that name. Bike...
Yeah, I used to... that was my first sponsor.
Are they still around?
Yep.
Nice. So you got a bike from Bike Doctor and started just... What did you end up getting to expert and stuff racing?
Yeah, my first year I turned expert.
Okay.
So I think you had to run like 20 races.
Yeah. How old were you then?
At that time, I think I turned expert. Same year. No, second year. Yeah, it was going towards the end of the year. So the following year, I turned. It was I think I was 13.
13.
I raced from 11 to 14.
Okay.
So I was 14.
And then you just started trying to hit the trails and stuff a little more. Did you meet John Saunders racing and stuff?
I met John racing. Actually, no, we started riding. I was riding like little dirt jumps.
Yeah.
Before I even started racing.
Okay.
But I didn't go down to the track until about 2, maybe 3. No, not that soon. Maybe like 2 months in.
Okay.
Because by the time I could already jump.
Yeah.
And do things, and my uncle had already had 4 or 5 wins under his belt. He was racing 17 over. It was, I think 17 over.
Expert or something.
17 over 29 or something.
Yeah.
No, it's 18 over. I don't remember.
He was racing.
Yeah,
he was racing an older class.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it started.
Nice. And so that kind of the guys you were saying you went to the trails with, that was kind of your first little crew of dudes that you kind of, went out and explored more of what BMX could give you then?
Not right at first.
Okay.
Because I was still that young kid.
Yeah.
And the only person I really got to ride with was my uncle when he came down, or when I went down to my grandmother's on the weekend.
Okay.
So I rode with him and this other guy, Robert.
Okay.
Robert, he's the one that got my uncle into riding. So it's kind of strange because without Robert, Mark would have never started riding. Without Mark, I would have never started riding.
Yeah. And what pulled you kind of away from, if you were racing and stuff? I know a lot of people when they race, they get to about 16, and a lot of my friends are just like, especially the way racing is kind of nowadays, you gotta start hitting the weights. You know, and if you ain't hitting the weights, you're gonna get roasted. And then a lot of dudes just start riding trails and street. What kind of pulled you out of the race scene?
The whole competitive side.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm a competitive person, but yeah, it was just too competitive for me in a way. Not that's too competitive. I was sick of people crashing me.
Yeah.
Like I would be in first place, come out of a turn, and just the slowest person in the pack would cut underneath and run directly into me. I'm like, okay, now I have a busted knee and elbow, and I can't go ride trails later because you ran into me. You know, if you're not fast enough, stay in the back of the pack.
Yeah. I mean, there's always those squirrely dudes out there. I've never raced, but there was one time I went to a Governor's Cup, and I took you remember Ian Monroe, right?
Yeah.
I took his number plate and put it on my bike and got up there on the gate. And dudes were running practice. I'm like, yo, I just want to go around this track a few times. And I'm up there with like a mag on the front of my bike. You know, I got a 48 on the back. Like I had a bash guard on my bike. And then we take off. And in my head, I'm serious racing right then. You know, these dudes are just getting their gate starts, working on their pump. And the way the track was set up, there was like a step up, and it kind of was like this big downhill to like this 20-foot long tabletop, and then like this big berm. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get these guys. And you know, I jumped the jump, and I'm like in the middle of the pack, and I'm like, I'm gonna swoop all these fools. And I go try to take it low, and my mag flexes out, and I took out like 4 dudes. You know, and it was supposed to be just chill practice. And then people realized I wasn't even in the race. You know, like I snuck on the track. And it didn't turn out good. I had like all these like buff racer dudes like screaming at me, and like, so I mean, I've been the dude that took out everybody before. So, but yeah, so you just kind of were just, you know, sick of that and riding trails some, and
yeah, I was over the whole competitive side. I enjoyed the freedom that came with like, freestyle. You know, that's what freestyle.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
so I could go out and ride my bike the same way. Another reason why I pulled away from team sports. You know, I enjoyed the freedom.
Yeah,
I didn't get punished for something another player did.
Yeah,
like if the person in front of the pack was racing, he fell down. You know, he'd knock everyone else down.
Yeah.
If I go fall down a set of stairs, that's on me.
Yeah, yeah.
Not because of the filmer or whomever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you completely. Like that's what pulled me away from team sports. You know, and you know, I think part of it partially was I just didn't really have any friends that I really connected with, because I played basketball. You know, when I was younger, my dad always pushed that on me. But
yeah,
you know, when I get on my bike, it was just like it was like I felt like I had tunnel vision when I was doing everything else. And when I got my bike, it's just like everything just opened up. You know, I'd look at everything as an obstacle.
Saw the bigger picture.
Yeah, I could go anywhere. I felt, you know, at that time, you know, in your town, I'm like, I can go anywhere on my bike. I can practice whatever I want. You know. I mean, yeah, it was like the perfect little tool.
No one's going to say anything to you. You know, you can learn what you want at your very own pace.
Yeah.
No one there forcing you to learn how to do anything. If you just want to ride in a straight line one day and go ride a few hills, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you want to go learn 10 tricks, you can do that too.
No, and I mean, that's definitely what pulled me to it. So, well, yeah, cool. So you're just like riding streets, kind of. Not riding street, you're riding trails and stuff like that. So you get 16, and you said you guys went on that trip. Was that kind of...
No, 14.
14 you went on that trip. Was that trip kind of an eye-opener for you? Kind of see like where BMX, you know, like you run into new dudes. You know, when you meet Joe Rich, I mean, 2000, I mean, Joe's still the man, but 2000, I mean, Joe, that was like the dude, you know? Like,
yeah, Joe was definitely iconic.
Yeah.
Figure for me, he was also... probably my favorite rider. So I met Joe, Christopher, Joe Larnigan, Sandy Carson.
Yeah.
What's his name? Mel Cody. I
met
all those dudes in that house, and I was by far the youngest rider there. I was just hanging out, and I mean, they're all partying around. They were grown men.
Yeah.
You know, and I was, you know, they took me down to, remember Nam?
Yeah.
Rode there, rode Posh.
You jumped pretty much everything back then?
Not every section, but more than half.
Nice.
Of the stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I remember. It's got to be weird because like when I came up, there was kind of trails, but I remember when I moved out of my town, and I went to these jumps. I was like, yo, there's landings? Because we were just hitting pop-out jumps. Like, I could air quarter pipes and stuff. And, I was like, oh, I can jump. I can get down. And we got this jump. And I'm like, yo, there's like a hole in between this.
There's a hole in between and a backside and another lip.
Yeah, like, it tripped me out. Like, I was just like...
Like, it doesn't stop going.
Yeah, like, I was confused. Like, it took a long time for me to kind of figure that out. I can't even imagine going those jumps back then. I mean... Those things were gnarly back then, you know?
I mean, what's his name? I think Dave King started.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, I remember all those guys' names.
Really? Most of those dudes are still
I know they're still around,
shredding.
and I follow them. Dave King with Trey Lamp and all them.
Yeah.
I even rode Dresselbrook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
I got to ride the remnants of Push.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
What was still there when you got to ride there?
Just like 2 small sections. I don't remember the names.
Yeah.
2 small sections. There were Empire Trails. I rode trails.
The Empire were the super big ones, weren't they? Those.
They were in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite set of trails, and that's where I'm pretty sure that's where I met Chris Doyle the first time.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I know which. I remember the. I swear that's the one. And I could be wrong. Somebody might correct me in the comments or something, but where they were just like ghost riding bikes, and where they landed, they were like building the landings for those jumps.
That may be because I think I remember seeing people do that in Expendable Youth.
Yeah.
Some video. Or maybe not Expendable Youth, like an old props.
Yeah, I feel like that was the Empire Trails, but like I said, I could be wrong, so somebody can correct me.
Empire Trails were definitely an Expendable. Same with Push and the other ones. Yeah.
When did you, like, I think we brought this up earlier, most people really didn't know you're from Maryland. Most people, I think, identified you with being from New York and stuff. When was the first time you started going to the city and riding? Who were the kind of guys you were hooking up with then?
I first started going to New York City when I met Jimmy Mack.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mark, my uncle was just like the ultimate talent.
Okay.
He learned everything very quickly.
Like, he was a badass racer.
Just and everything.
Okay.
He was that guy, just super talented. And Jimmy, he was kind of busted on the scene, and I saw a picture of him on the cover of Black Enterprise magazine.
Okay.
And it's like this new entrepreneur, jumps into BMX, and he was scouting around. He saw my uncle, so he picked up my uncle.
Yeah, because Bulldog. Well, for Bulldog, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Bulldog had a pretty good race team for a while, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He picked up my uncle, and Mark told him about me, and one thing led to another, and we were on. He bought us tickets, and we were on a bus up to New York City. So I met him, and I still wasn't riding street yet.
Yeah.
I was still riding trails.
Yeah, yeah.
We were up there to film a music video in the woods with some guys called the Dwellers.
Okay.
But the video, like, their budget fell through, and they didn't. I don't know what happened to it with their career.
Yeah.
But that was my first time meeting Jimmy. All
Yeah.
that happened.
He seemed like a character. I saw him once. I think he was down at Roots once. Remember they were just handing out Bulldog Source magazine.
I was down there.
Okay, yeah, you were at that one. I just remember did they have a Bulldog rig too?
Yeah, we had a huge
big SUV or something.
Big Suburban.
Okay, and then I just remember I still have a stack of them, like these Bulldog Source.
You still have them?
Oh, dude, yeah, I got a grip, dude. I still have a grip in my sticker box. But yeah, that's where I met Jimmy, and I was like, he definitely was an over the top personality and everything,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are probably wondering, what did he ride BMX, or what brought him into BMX? Was he just an entrepreneur and just looked at it as an opportunity, or what?
He rode BMX when he, I guess, sometime in the 80s.
Okay.
And he's also really into cycling.
Okay.
So he had a bit of a BMX background, but he took it further. He had more of a business mindset.
Yeah.
And he didn't really stick to BMX like he did with business.
Yeah.
And everything, because he had the whole music thing going on and whatnot. But he did race. I remember watching him on the track quite a few times.
How old was he back then?
Back then, I want to say, Jimmy's probably around your age.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say 15 years ago. So he had to be...
He's probably mid-20s or something? I'm
No,
41 now.
41.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy's older than you.
Okay.
So I think he was my age now.
Like in his early 30s?
Early 30s, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you go up there and...
Yeah, I went up there, picked us up, and then we did the whole music video thing. And
yeah.
We rode Malali's.
Oh, yeah, Malali.
Never seen Malali, that park before, and...
Iconic. That place is iconic.
Yeah, definitely. And I ran into... That's when the first street riders I met from New York City.
Yeah.
Because they were Edwin, Tyrone, Worms, and those, and Rondell.
Okay.
Rondell's more a park, but those guys. I met those guys before anyone.
And those dudes rode Malali a bunch, I think, when they were younger.
I don't know if they did or not, but that's why I met them because they were also in the video.
Okay.
They were on Bulldog for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And I met them and Ed. I had no idea. I didn't have any idea about him.
Yeah.
I went to Malaz. I saw him do a 540 on a bank, and I was like, what was that? Like he just did a 540 on a bank and no idea, because street riding was very new to me.
You hadn't really paid attention to it in the media or anything?
For me, it was just dirt jumping, watching,
just all the trail dudes.
All the trail guys.
Yeah.
And even like skate parks weren't even really weren't really a part of my life either, because they weren't around me.
Yeah, you just had like Lansdowne, which is like a 70s style skate park.
And it was an hour away.
Yeah.
I was 14, I had no way of getting up.
Yeah.
So that's what it was. And like when I left after watching Ed and Tyrone, those guys do some things on the street, it changed my whole perspective on what I could do on a bike.
Were you riding a Bulldog then?
So riding a Bulldog, yep.
Okay, so you could definitely ride street on it.
Yeah.
Did you go and get pegs after that?
No.
No?
I think I put pegs on maybe a year after.
Okay.
And I kept breaking my chain. Kept breaking my chain on the grind side.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't like this. And I tried to jump on a flat rail one day, and I just kept falling off. This didn't really work for me. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I saw Garrett Burns' video part from Criminal Mischief.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? That might... I mean, not Garrett Burns from Criminal Mischief. Garrett Burns' props interview.
Okay, yeah.
So that part kind of put it in. I was like, I could probably just do... Maybe pegless is for me.
Yeah.
But then something just sparked in me and said, no, keep your pegs on. Like, continue riding them. And, I got kind of used to them.
So, I think probably coming up on about, like, when the Mega Tour and stuff happen here soon. Like
when we first met?
Yeah. I mean, you were still, I think you were like 17 then or something, weren't you? You were pretty young.
I had just turned 18 and went through a very, I would say, an early, life lesson.
What was that?
Went to jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean...
got locked up for something I didn't do, but I knew the person that did it, and I took the rap.
Yeah.
And...
Were you still still down in Maryland?
Mm-hmm. I was still in Maryland. Yeah, I was still in Maryland, and got a phone call. People talking from Jimmy was like, hey, they want you all to do, props and Mega Tour.
Yeah.
Bob's gonna be your filmer. He's gonna go down. He's like, I think we all agreed that Bob agreed on Bob to film us because everyone was comfortable with Bob. He's a city boy. I wasn't a city boy, but I knew the other riders on the team.
Yeah.
And I was comfortable around them, so Bob was a good fit for us. And we flew down there. That was my first flight. Here's the crazy thing. I had never been on a plane before.
Okay.
And I went to D.C. to see John Saunders. And I stayed the night. And I was like, man, what's it like flying? He's like, you ever been on a plane before? Like, nope. He's like, it's kind of like being on a bus, but you're in the air. And sometimes you might feel turbulence. The bus kind of shakes. It's kind of like riding the bus into the wind.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, got up in the morning. I called a taxi. Flew, and on the way to the airport, I'm sitting in the front seat of the car. On the passenger side.
Yeah.
Talking with the driver. and a deer jumps over the barrier and smashes into my window.
What?
Busts out the back, also the back passenger side window.
So he just jumped right into the side of the car.
Yeah, there was blood all over the side of it. I ducked down. I was like, "Oh my god, what the fuck!" And, it scared the life out of me.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because we're just driving.
Were you on the highway?
Yeah.
So you were cooking pretty much.
Yeah, probably going at least 70.
Yeah.
And he's driving. And I'm just sitting there, and I was like, "Deer!" And he's like, he looked over, and the deer smashed the window. And I looked behind us. And there's just fur all up in the air. There's fur all in the back seat of the car.
Did he get stuck to the car or anything?
There's blood all down the side of it, and the deer was a doe just convulsing down the highway.
Yeah.
And he stopped when we got to the airport. He pulled over and he took. He deducted it from my fare, and I went on from there. But they say like you're more likely to die on the way to the airport than
you are in the plane.
In the plane. And that was my first flying experience. You know?
Yeah, that mega tour was pretty fun. I was with the man-made crew, so I think a lot of people. I mean, do you remember how fucking cold it was that trip in Florida?
Yeah, it was at night.
It was like some crazy cold snap because I remember we were in Miami. It was like 60 degrees. I just wanted to go swimming. I still went out in the ocean, but it was like so cold and like. I don't think anybody brought warm enough clothes because even when we tried going north to get away from it, it was so cold on that trip. I just remember, which was just really weird,
Yeah, I do remember that because I remember because we started off in Orlando.
Yeah,
and I remember just going out at night wearing a hoodie and a beanie. It's Florida. It was my first time. Was it my first? I think it was my. No, it was that was my second time.
Okay.
The first time I went down there was, that Merritt Island contest.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I went there.
Yeah, I think a few of my buddies went to like Bristol and Daniel Randall went down to that, and I think my buddy Twinfin went down to that one. Yeah. So I almost went to that contest. That seemed like a pretty epic contest back then.
Oh, it was. You saw like Rob Nolly doing like nose pick the.
Oh, dude.
Bar spin and stuff.
On the sub box, he probably.
Yeah.
He might have done a nose to 540 bar.
Something.
Shit.
Who knows what he's up.
Yeah, he's still so dialed. I saw some footage of him. And he's older than me, and he's still like, dude, everything on lock. Like,
as dialed as can be.
Yeah, that dude's a real legend. Yeah. Yeah. That Florida trip. So how that was kind of your first time like filming for anything, right? Because that was before the Shook part and stuff, wasn't it?
That was definitely before Shook. I want to say that was 2004.
Yeah.
So that was before Shook. Way before Shook.
Yeah. And who was on that trip with you though, on that mega tour? It's like you, Mike Brennan,
Skinny. Carson Tannis, so Marlon Europe, Mike Brennan.
Oh, Marlon Europe. Yeah, shit.
Mm-hmm. Rondell Somerset.
Yeah. Because you guys, I remember, had a pretty good little crew on that trip.
Yeah, I want to say Isaac Barnes was on there.
Isaac was on the trip, yeah.
Yeah, Isaac Barnes.
How the fuck did Isaac Barnes... Here's the thing. Isaac lives in the middle of fucking nowhere in Canada.
How did Jimmy assemble that?
How did that dude get on Bulldog bikes? That's all I... like...
Jimmy, I don't know. I don't know if someone, someone showed Jimmy... but Jimmy had a great eye for scouting out. For scouting.
It just riders. Like... You want to talk about the most random dude
on that equation, and
you're like, he is up north, snow everywhere in Canada, yeah. But I remember he was on that trip.
Him, Oba Stanley.
Yep.
And I think that
sounds about
that's about that's everyone.
And you guys had a pretty smooth trip on that one, didn't you?
Yeah, man, we had fun. We went to, some of those historical spots like the synagogue, White Rails.
See, we didn't get to those, but you ride orange peels and stuff.
Yeah, rode the orange peels. That's where Megatour 4 is where I did the first wall ride, like pop out on the street
over the sidewalk, right?
Yeah,
I remember that clip. Yeah,
that's the very first time I did one, and I also got. That was the first time I did that, and the first time I got a double flat.
What do you mean double flat?
Like 2 flats at once.
Oh, did you get double flat when you did that?
I tried it at night, and I didn't even know what I was doing. Like, what I was like, I asked like Bob, I was like, "Is this even a thing?" He's like, Bob didn't even know what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy, but I don't really know what to call it. I guess you just. So I was like, I tried it and pulled over the street and nose case the front.
Yeah.
I mean, nose case the edge of the sidewalk with my front and back tire, and double flat. So I was like, well, now what? So we went the next day and like 5-6 tries, I did it.
No, I that's one of the clips, and you know, like when you've seen so many damn videos, and especially like I was filming on a lot of those trips, but I do remember that clip standing out because, you know, that was kind of a cool time for street riding because it was like in between like, you know, the 90s where everything was just pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
And, you know, and now everything's just kind of different, but, you know, it did go to a super tech mode, and it was just kind of right there in the middle. It was like, I always feel like that street riding around 2005 to 2006 was like a pretty fun time with it, you know? But, yeah, I totally remember that clip. You know, that's the trip that we all had to run from the police and everything.
Yeah. No, I agree with you with what you said about that time for street, because not only was it a time where people were, you know, doing big things and technical things, but it was a time where I felt like where riders were the most well-rounded.
I agree with you, yeah. Like, dudes that still would get down on ledge could get down on other things, you know?
Yeah. They'd go out and ice pick grind a foot-high tall ledge, then go and, you know, boost some trails.
Yeah.
And now it's not quite like that anymore.
Yeah, it's weird. And I mean, I don't know.
It is a way, but it's like those riders are becoming more far in between.
Yeah, they definitely are. And I mean, everybody, it seems like, and it's not everybody, you know, I don't want everybody to think like, you know, we're trying to point at certain things, but definitely feels like the categories are a lot stricter nowadays. You know, like you meet a dude, and he's like a tech street guy, and you're like, hey, let's go cruise the skate park or something, and it's just like, they give you a look, or you meet a trail dude, you know, nowadays some trail dudes, you're like, yo, let's go ride street, and they're just gonna look at you like...
They associate themselves with one thing.
Yeah,
like,
instead of just being like, let's go have fun on our bike, and just enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, that time was just like this perfect little bubble, I think, for a while, to where, you know, even dudes that you'd kind of look back and be like, no, he's a street dude. But then, no, he could kill it on everything, you know? I mean, look at Bob. I mean, Bob
rides. Yeah, Bob rides everything.
Yeah.
That's also, that's the one thing that was, I found so inspiring by the riders from old school. Like I would you consider me mid school. Mid school. So mid to even to now. Like when I saw what's his name, Josh Harrington for the first time.
Yeah. I
went to the contest at Mears Park, and in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
Oh no, was it no?
Was it that one with the big box jump?
Mm-hmm. No, was there? I don't know if that was that Raleigh.
It might have been. My buddy Daniel broke his leg there because they had that enormous box jump, the one Mira double flipped, right?
Yeah.
Is that the contest we're talking about?
Yep. And I saw Josh Harrington for the first time. I'm like, this guy rides everything. He can ride the street, he can ride park. I think Josh was 16.
Gnarly vert dude?
Yeah. Josh was 16. Still one of my favorite riders.
Oh, he's sick.
Day. And, you know, he was doing everything. I met, you know, David Stroud. I met David for the first time. He was riding like a Reynolds frame. Like we were like the two young guys in there.
Yeah.
Behind Josh, just doing tricks over the box. And I didn't have a clue how to ride a quarter pipe. The only thing I rode was the box jump.
Yeah.
That was when I was still in my jumping phase.
Yeah. And that box jump was big. I remember that was like a contest with like the first really big box jump.
That's what was his name. Billy Dexter was there.
Oh, dude, that dude's crazy. He came up here on one of those road fools. He's so country, dude. He's awesome, man.
Yeah.
He is wilding. He just wanted to boost everything. Yeah, he was really good.
Now I think about it, man, I got to ride with, this Friday, or this Sunday, this coming Sunday would be about 21 years in BMX.
Wow, yeah. It comes up on you fast.
Yeah, I've got to see quite a bit.
It's cool when you look back. Like, I've been riding, like, it's like about 30 years.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like once you get to a certain point with your riding, you can definitely like break it down in little segments of like, this was this little era for me. This was this little era. And you can kind of pick the things that influenced you to push you into a different style or a different, you know, trajectory or wherever you went with BMX, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I can always look back and be like, you know, there's just certain things that kind of pushed me a certain way with riding, you know, something that caught my eye, and you can kind of look back with every little thing and realize what took you a certain way, you know? Like, I remember the first time I saw Brian Castillo's part in, like, S&M BMX Inferno. You know, just him doing, like, you know, he does a manual 180, you know, he's just riding fast, long ice grinds, you know, tooth bonks out of certain things. And it was just, that was like that new wave of street riding, you know, kind of a little different than like what the dirt bros, you know, dudes were doing handrails stuff, but it was like just fast and fluid. And I was just,
was he the first person to do manual 180?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, in that video he does one.
That's what
he does feeble manual 180 in that video. So, which, I mean, that was 94, 95?
Yeah, that's one of the most like fundamental.
Yeah,
like,
and then I don't think anybody really did it again until Road Fools 1 when Taj started doing them.
Yeah.
Because he had that clip where they're riding the wedge, and he comes up and does a manual 180.
Oh, in Arizona.
Yeah, and he does a few like that. But I mean, he had the good pop and every, you know, like
it was a proper one. It wasn't.
Yeah. Brian's was still sick. You know, I mean, just when you're the first dude to do something and you haven't seen it.
You have no blueprint to work off.
Yeah,
of, you know.
I mean, it's crazy. So, so yeah, you rode for Bulldog for a while. A little bit after that, kind of, you know, I think, you know, I knew who you were because I met you on that trip, but I don't think a lot of people would really, you know.
I wasn't a household name.
Yeah, but then at that time, which I mean was another awesome thing, the Shook videos were coming out.
I went to the Shook videos were coming out. Well, it was Shine.
Yeah, it was Shine.
Shine.
Was your part?
I was in Shook.
Okay.
I didn't really know much about Shine. I saw one video.
Okay.
That's when I saw it was Shine. It was Vic, Ed, like that road trip they went on. I think Vinny may have been in there.
Yeah.
And Will Taubman and a bunch of people in that video, I think. And I saw that, and I think I saw quite a. Yeah, I saw those videos.
Yeah.
But during that time, fuck, where we at?
We were just talking about, we were going to get into that Shook part you did.
Oh, Shook. You want to know how that came about?
Yeah.
We're on Road Fools. Not Road Fools, we're on Megatour.
Yeah.
Prior to that trip, Marlon, Skinny, and I believe Oba went on there. No, not Oba. Ra. Oh yeah, it's also Ra. You remember?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Ra was also on. He also was on
the Megatour, right?
Megatour.
Yeah,
that's the one person I forget. So Ra was on there, and they told Chad about me. And I said, hey man, can you put in the word? Like I want to go on a trip, or see if he'd be down to have a video part with me.
Yeah. And
they told Chad all about me, and that was like during the time when I was paying court fees. I was on supervised probation.
Yeah.
And everything. And I was working in BMX. I felt like it was kind of stagnant for me for one time. I was like, man, I wish something was going. My bike was always a pile. Wasn't working, wasn't doing anything, just in and out of school. And my I got a phone call. I received a phone call.
Yeah.
From Shad. From Chad. Your name, his name, the two name, Chad, Shad.
No, I get it. Yeah. I know.
I received a phone call from Chad. We had like a 20-minute long conversation on there, and he's like, yeah, when you come up, show me a video part. So I hopped on a bus.
Were you going out to Ohio or what?
Yeah, I took a bus out to Ohio and got a phone call.
Did you have to run that through like?
No, I didn't even say anything to my probation officer.
You just dipped.
I just dipped out, and here's the scary thing: he called me while I was out there.
Of course he did. Of course.
Yes.
Yo, fool probably hadn't called you for like.
Never ever calls me.
Never. Yo, of course he called. He just got a little feeling.
I'm 10 hours away from Maryland, and he calls me. And I was like, Just hey man, be quiet. Like this is my probation officer.
Yeah.
And I get on the phone with him and he's like, "Hey Brad, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing well. What's going on?" He goes, "Oh, just checking to see what you're doing." I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm alright. Just riding my bike around." He goes, "Where are you?" And he goes, "Oh, just around the way riding my bike." "Oh, okay." He goes, Do you need me for something?" He goes, "No, I don't need you for anything. I just need to know where you're at all times. Doesn't matter if I, want to talk to you or not, or I need to know where you are. You're my business right now."
Yeah.
And I was okay. And Chad and Tony and I were on the side, just looking at me like with the biggest eyes ever. Like, oh God.
Yeah.
And got the phone and Chad was like, "Man, I was so scared. I was ready to put you on the bus and send you right back home." I was like, I was scared. I was scared of
Oh fuck yes! Like if he was like, "Hey yo, I'm gonna swing by your house here in like an hour just to check how things are going," you would have just
that my life might have been completely different.
Yeah.
Not even. It would have been completely different.
Because you'd probably had to go back in for a while.
I would have had to. Yeah, I would have violated probation.
Yeah.
And who knows? I might not ever have gotten that chance to film a video part.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So yeah, you're out in Ohio. They were in what, Cincinnati?
Cincinnati, yeah.
Dude, street in Cincinnati is good.
There's
so much stuff out there.
So underrated. Yeah, that was definitely one of the best cities I've ever ridden.
Dude,
before.
when I've been there, like it's nuts. Like, not trying to blow their city out, for the homies there listening. Yeah. But damn, that city's got some stuff to ride. Yeah, so you go out there, and how was it filming with Chad and everything on that?
It was nothing like I had really ever experienced because I didn't have much time.
Yeah, how long did it take you to film that part?
I had 5 days.
Yeah, that isn't much time.
It wasn't much. And I got out there and woke up one morning and he said, I think it wasn't the first day. The first day we went out, I did a little something, didn't do much. And it was getting down to crunch time. And actually, I believe it was the very last day of filming. And he said, "You need about 18 clips to finish off your video part." And
like a normal day filming, if you got
2-3 clips.
If you get above 3, you're like, but you're patting yourself on the back. You're like, I did good.
And he said 18 clips to me. And I'm like, 18 clips? Like, who says that? And how am I going to film 18 clips today? But this was during a time like we were on a mission.
Yeah. You were focused.
We were in the van, out back and forth, and Tony's with me the whole entire day. He didn't leave my side one day. Tony saw every single clip.
And Tony's probably riding with you the whole time
Tony's
too.
Riding. He was
he's a beast. So you're probably having good. It's good having somebody there to push you.
Yeah, and that was my first time meeting Tony.
Yeah,
and so we got out of the car around midday. This is a late start.
Yeah.
To film 18
hell yeah.
clips.
You should be out like by 8:30.
Yeah. Sun up, all right, out the house by 8:30, whatever. And so it was midday. We go to the first spot. I was kind of lost. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I skipped 2 spots. And after that, they just started coming one after another.
You just found the right spot?
Spot after spot. Like Tony would take to another spot. They had their ideas, and I just went in.
Yeah.
And, we finished just before. I think I filmed the last clip at like 11:30
at night,
and that was 18 clips.
Damn. Yeah, and then that part came out, and I just remember, everybody kind of talk. I mean, those videos. Everybody was excited for those videos because it was. The thing Chad did, it was like really good. He was really good at that time at spotting new talent coming out,
Yeah.
Because it was right before, that was like just right on the brink before, everybody started posting stuff on YouTube, and like the Come Up came out and started posting everything. That was just like right at the peak of the hill of like, you still buying DVDs, like you're just right there at the top of the hill, and Shook was right up there at top. Before everything rolled over into kind of how we pay attention to BMX right now,
Yeah. And what Chad did, he gave me the opportunity to do something and it changed my life forever.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know? So I feel like any person that filmed a part with Chad and was in a Shook DVD, something happened with them.
Oh, dude! Every time you knew there was like, you knew when those come out, you knew there was gonna be hype behind. You're like, one dude's gonna be dropping something that's gonna blow your mind in those videos.
Yep.
You know, and like literally everyone, like you just be like, you know, and it was always like new, fresh spots.
If you had a part in Shook, you were most likely one of the new guys that were going to get put on.
Yeah, you were definitely like the Shook DVD. Definitely set the. It kind of set the path for like what was going to go on from like 2005 to almost 2010 with some of the new riders, the way you looked at street riding, and the way videos were presented for a while. You know, I mean, you know, it wasn't here for a long time, but it definitely did its thing.
Well, it had an influence. I mean, I still believe that Chad's influence is still in BMX. I look at some people's animations, like their graphics.
Oh yeah,
like, you know, whoever influenced him, I don't know where he got his style from or whatever, but you know, it's still here, and I'm glad. I'm more than appreciative. I sent him a message. It's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, I don't know what he's doing now.
Yeah.
You know, I wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, I appreciate him giving me the opportunity to do something different.
Yeah, and that definitely, I feel like from about that point on, you know, it wasn't too long after that. What did you go to Hoffman?
It was a gap because he had some budget issues.
Yeah,
and I still didn't really have a banger for the video.
Okay.
So, we went on another road trip.
Okay.
So we went down to Atlanta.
Okay.
I filmed a few things down there. It wasn't not many clips. And we went to Atlanta, went to Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I filmed, I think like 2 clips.
Yeah.
Maybe down there.
Did you get your banger down there?
No, I filmed my banger to ice up that rail.
Oh
in
yeah.
DC.
So real, you know.
I was in DC.
Closest thing to home.
Yeah. What I did, I was in the house one day and I watched Criminal Mischief.
Yeah.
And I got to Van's part. I saw Van ice down a really long rail.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, everybody's seen Van ice down a really long rail. I was like, I want to do something different. I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be known as, hey, another guy that just iced down another long rail. Like,
yeah.
Okay, Van set the tone for crazy street riding.
Oh, definitely.
Up to date back then.
I mean, any of Van's parts could drop right now, and you'd still be like, "Oh shit," you know.
Easily. And we went out one day. I was in DC, and this guy. I mean, we walked. I mean, we pulled up to the Howard rail.
Okay.
And I remember Brian Wismerski grinded up it, just a double peg up.
Yeah.
I got to the top. I was like, I'm iced down it. And I looked at the bottom of it. And I remember Ruben grinded up a rail to 180. I feel like Ruben was the first person to go up a rail to 180.
Yeah.
Because do you remember the McNeil ad where he grinds up his square rail to 180?
Vaguely, I do. Yeah. I mean, it would have been him. I swear, it would have been him or Corey. But Ruben did so many early street moves that kind of, I think, get like looked over because so many people just think of him as like a sick, you know, transition rider.
Yeah.
That they kind of forget how sick of a street rider he was, even on rails and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I want to say that he was the first to go up a rail.
No, I believe you, yeah.
And if not, it was close.
Yeah.
You know, toss up. But yeah, so we were at that spot, and I'm looking at the top, like, man, I need to do something different. Like, I'm comfortable grinding down a rail.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable just doing a double peg down this rail to 180 or something, over grind. Like, I need to do something different. I want to put out a part, and people see something jaw dropping.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable doing this thing. You don't become great by being comfortable.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna push myself. And I went down to the bottom of the rail. No one's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. And I rode down the path, sprinted back up, tried to ice up, and only went like 3/4 of the way up. And this kid Eric said, "Man, no way, that's impossible." Like, you're gonna ice pick grind up the rail. And I'm like, I don't know, man, it might be possible.
Yeah.
I tried it again, and I went about halfway up.
Yeah. How many stairs was that thing?
17. So it was on my 7th try. I iced up the rail, and everybody went crazy. Then
Did you eat shit on it, or did you pretty much just
no, I just
drop the peg pretty much every time, like going up?
Just double peg. I think one time I stepped over the side of the rail.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. Iced up the rail, jumped to the top. Everybody went crazy.
Yeah.
That was actually, it started sprinkling.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was drizzling during when I did it.
Yeah.
And I had the clip. Come back to the house. I was so excited. I didn't know. I didn't have words, and I sent the clip to like 4 different people. I showed this guy Doug. I sent it to Chad.
Yeah.
And like one other person. And they were like, "Is that real?"
Oh yeah, fully. Yeah.
And after that, what was it, like maybe a month or 2 after? Chad put the video out.
Yeah.
Then maybe like 2-3 months down the road, I was a nominee for #1 street rider. No, #1 video part of the year
For Nora Cup, yeah.
for Nora Cup. Like this Nora Cup, I knew about Nora Cup, and I just watched. I seen it in the magazine growing up. And like, now I went from being a guy to just barely having any recognition in BMX
and sneaking out of the state,
sneaking out of the state, to being a nominee for #1 video part of the year.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's how life changing that video was.
Oh,
the video part was for me.
Yeah, I mean that was one of the things. Like when I was thinking about us talking, I'm like, God, we got to talk about that thing, because I feel like that part just hit so hard at that time, and it definitely had, everybody that was watching videos at that time were talking about it, and you were still riding on.
I was still on Bulldog.
Let me ask you one thing. So when you were on Bulldog, how much shit would the homies give you for the square chainstays?
Oh, I always got it. All the time. People
did the bikes hold up okay?
Yeah, I think I cracked one frame, but I rode for like 3 years.
Yeah,
and I was always jumping in some huge gap or tail whipping down something, and okay, yeah, fine. Like the bike.
I mean, every bike breaks. I mean,
yeah, eventually.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And but people always gave me shit about it.
Yeah.
People I rode with. But I mean, I was the guy that I rode. I rode nonstop. When there was after school dances and stuff, I didn't go to school to dance. Yeah. I was out front of my middle school riding my bike. When there was prom came around, I was out riding my bike.
I did the same thing.
And I was like, why are you riding this bike? And why are you riding the bike? I'm like, well, why are you working at Subway? Or why are you not that I'm not playing them? But like, I enjoy doing what I love to do. Hanging out in this school is not something I enjoy doing. I want to go ride my bike, and I had, I didn't have anything else to do, anything I was interested in.
Yeah.
Apart from just riding and learning tricks. That's what I continued doing.
I always saw those things, and they remind me of the old 70s Redline squarebacks, because they had this, and I was always kind of wondering, I'm like, I wonder if Jimmy Mack rode if like he raced and
Auburn or something.
The Auburns had it too, but yeah, the Redline squarebacks, the Auburns. I'm like, I wonder if he had a bike like that back in the day that he just sweated, and he's like, yo, fuck it, we putting square chainstays on these things.
Maybe it might have been something. He got that idea from somewhere.
Oh, he had to have. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, do you ever talk to that dude? Is he still around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to Jimmy.
Yeah.
Not as much as I like to, but dude, he's a very insightful person. Always, and he's into many things.
Yeah. Yeah. So kind of after that video,
I got a phone call from Matt Hoffman.
That's I mean,
a personal phone call.
That's a big deal.
It was, because I was still a knucklehead at this time.
Yeah.
I was still doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
And Matt called me, and I was cleaning my act up, but I was still doing, stupid things.
Is that just because you were still like in where you grew up, and you're still kicking it with dudes that
around there? Yeah, I was still kind of jeopardizing my freedom.
Yeah.
In a way. And I got a phone call from him one day, and I think during that time I had a job.
Yeah. What were you doing for work?
Working at this industrial marine company.
Okay.
Just hard, man. Just working in coveralls all day. I was covered in soot day in, day out. I hated it wearing goggles, hard hat.
Yeah.
And I think I was on my lunch break. I got a phone call. And he was like, "Hey, Brad, this is Matt." I'm like, "What? Matt who?" It's Matt Hoffman. Looked at my phone. Like, "What? Matt Hoffman?" I was like, "Is this a joke?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, this is Matt Hoffman." I was like, "Yeah, this is Brad Sims. Are you sure you got the right number?" He goes, "Yeah, of course I got the right number. I know who you are." He goes, "I just finished watching your Shook video part.
Yeah.
And we've been sitting here in the office talking about it for, about an hour. And, some people have been tossing your name around. And I would like to be part of my team." And he said one thing to me, and I think it'll probably be with me the rest of my life. Because Matt's just a pioneer and also another iconic figure in BMX. He said, "You're my new hero. I never seen anyone ride a bike like that before."
Yeah.
And that stuck with me. And I was like, if someone that iconic said something like that to me.
Yeah.
Then I was like, you know what? I must be doing something right, and I'm meant to be out here.
Yeah. So
So
that's stuck with you since then.
that stuck with me, and they put me on the team. And from there, they invited me down to Oklahoma.
Yep.
Went down there, so I rode with Matt, filmed some stuff. So working on that Brook-Off video.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked on that, and
that was your second video part?
yeah, I didn't have much. I think I had like 2 weeks to film for it, and it was kind of.
Well, I'm trying to remember what your bang was. That banger, the wall right over the rail into that grate thing?
No. That was a Hoffman props road trip.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that road trip was pretty crazy.
it was. So yeah, to me, yeah.
So yeah, you got on
I got on Hoffman. I rode for them for 3 years, and when I started off, that's when I got my first opportunity to really travel outside the U.S.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, this is when you got on Hoffman. It really kind of seemed like that. The traveling bug kind of got you right then.
Yeah.
What? So and I know that's you're kind of. Do you feel like you're almost known more for travel now than riding in a weird way?
No, because a small group of people pay attention to that.
Yeah.
They know that I ride around, but people are more focused on my riding.
Yeah.
I can also tell that through social media.
Yeah.
As well.
Where were you, what was it that because that's what I've always loved about BMX is it's taken me somewhere. It's because I grew up in a tiny just small cowboy town, and if I didn't ever ride BMX, I'm sure I'd just be working there, waiting for elk hunting season.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
But
it's funny, I'm trying to picture you waiting for elk hunt.
Well, that's what everybody does, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the bike brought me out of that bubble like that the rest of my family would have been in, like my cousin and stuff. I'd probably be working for our family business, just getting out on the boat in the summer, a couple times and calling it good. But the bike showed me that there was just way more out there and way more different types of people and things I need to pay attention to. What was the trip or the thing that kind of gave you that thing that you were like, I want to go see more of the world,
Mark Owen sent me an email and asked if I wanted to go to Singapore. And that was around the time when I had zero geographical indication about anything.
Yeah.
I think I knew maybe I could have, back then I could have named maybe 7 or 8 countries for you.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 or something. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, where is Singapore? I said, oh, it's in Southeast Asia. So I got on Google. I was like, Singapore.
Like, that's far away.
Oh, that's far away. That's really far away.
Yeah.
So, you need to go get yourself a passport and go to. I didn't need a visa. You need to go to get a passport.
Yeah.
So I did that. Got a passport. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Singapore.
Yeah.
I ran into. That was 2007.
What was that a props trip?
No. Well, I think they filmed. I think they turned it into something.
I'm trying to remember what that was for.
No. Metro Jam. The one they had in Singapore.
I forgot.
Jay
Yeah.
Miron put it on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I went out there, and on my layover, I ran into Rob Wise.
Oh, nice.
We knew of each other.
Yeah.
And
Because Rob Wise was kind of coming up the same time you were coming up.
He had just put out that crazy part, the video Navaz made called Left Right.
Oh, yeah, his part was... Yeah, that video hit hard, too.
So that came out, so I was like, you're Rob, you're Brett. And we immediately clicked.
Yeah.
From right there, because people told me that Rob's very reserved, kind of standoffish.
Yeah.
But, we just kind of hit it off, and from there we hung out most of the time in Singapore. And I'd never seen anyone ride street like him, because he didn't do any big airs in his run, but he did his crazy street moves.
Yeah.
He dropped in, and his first trick was on a bank to sub, was over ice to over bar fakie mid run.
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, he's always got
my
something
mind was
crazy.
blown. I was like, you did that in the middle of a run, you know?
Yeah, So you went over there.
So
How long did you stay over in Singapore for? Just
2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks. That part, that whole thing, yeah, just kind of stuck with me, and put the travel bug in me, and right there, I kind of realized, how much more there was out there.
Did you go back home and just start working to save up for a trip, or what kind of?
I worked just a little more.
Yeah.
And then I quit. I got my tax refund.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think this is done for me. I think I'm done with working for this company. I want to ride. I want this because I wasn't a paid rider.
Yeah.
Just yet.
I mean, some people don't understand. Just be a paid rider is pretty hard.
Yeah.
And
even back then, 2007, I felt like even 2007 because Chad sent my name around to a few different companies, and people were still reluctant to putting me on. They're like, well, we don't know this guy, he just...
Yeah, oh yeah.
He look... I don't know what we could do for him, if he's marketable or whatnot.
Yeah.
And I think he asked We the People, he asked some shoe companies, he asked quite a few of them, and nothing. But then Hoffman said yes. Open the window up.
Yeah.
Let me in. And I went from there.
So, you've traveled, I know we've talked about it a little, but you've traveled to a lot of countries. How many countries have you been to now so far?
98.
And there's...
196.
Okay, I was about to be mad. I was about to say 173, but now is your goal to hit all of them if you can? I know some of them you can't go to,
I get if the opportunity comes, and I don't really like to say if the opportunity comes.
I know it's kind of weird when
you have to create opportunities for yourself.
Yeah.
As well, and networking and meeting the right people. Sometimes it can just be drawing luck.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure I would. But I think 140 is probably ideal. I don't know why I say 140.
Yeah.
140 is the number of places that I can think of that interests me the most.
Yeah.
And some other ones, they're tiny countries, and I'm sure they're interesting, but
you might have the same type of culture that at that place that you would in a neighboring country that's
not even so much. It's just far away, and there's really not much to do there. It's unless you're in that part of the world, just really, I wouldn't just spend my money to go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be silly not to ask you. So, what are some of the favorite places you've been? Maybe not riding wise, but just traveling. What are some of the places that stand out that you've been to?
Let's see. Well, I go to places for different reasons.
Yeah.
So if I want to go riding, then my favorite place to ride my bike.
Yeah.
I think the USA is hands down the best place to ride BMX.
Yeah.
When everyone tries to compare, Barcelona is the best. It has the most abundance of spots
for how small it is.
For how small it is.
Yeah.
And they have very unique spots as well. But the U.S., the size of the U.S., there's something to ride in every city here.
Yeah.
You get to Europe and there's things to ride in their capital city.
Yeah.
But if you leave the city, you might find a few nooks.
Yeah, sometimes when you're in Europe and you go out in the country, you're out there.
Yeah. And those countries are old.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, America is very new and but the place that some of my favorites definitely Brazil,
Yeah.
Brazil, uh, Argentina. I lived in Poland for a while.
Okay.
Poland's fun. Hungary, I go there frequently. I've probably been to Hungary like 30 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, China.
The whole thing in China is everything just seems like everything's fast forward over there right now. Their country and
Yes, that's
especially with like
Marble Kingdom.
yeah, and like well now all the the subcultures in the world are kind of being let in.
Yes.
Like how long till China has like this gnarly BMX pro that comes out that just blows everybody's mind. I mean, it's got to be coming here soon.
One of them there. I mean, Russia already has multiple like incredible riders.
So I went to Russia in 2001.
So that's what blows my mind. Because I remember you told me that you went to Russia in 2001, and this is like I said, I didn't leave the country until 2007.
Yeah,
Russia. I went to Russia in 2010.
Yeah.
Or no, like 11, 12. But yeah, go ahead.
So it wasn't even that far. But when we went there, kids weren't even like they were riding. We were at the skate park, and there was normal looking skateboard kids because I think skateboarding at Distro had been there long enough. The only BMX bikes they could get in were Redline Triple X's. So the kids that were trying to ride had Redline Triple X's, and then a couple kids showed up at the skate park in full jerseys and like these weird 80s bikes that I didn't know what they were. But the kids wouldn't talk to each other. But we taught, like it was me, Walter Perringer, and John Bristol, and a few other dudes. We were teaching kids how to feeble grind. We taught a few kids how to grind downstairs because there was like, Gorky Park, there was like a ton of good street stuff. And, fast forward, the Russian riders are insane. I talked to some dude on Instagram, and he was like, hey, I remember when you guys came out and rode, and I was like, oh, yeah. I'm like, the only dude I really remember is this kid named Sasha. And he's like, yo, that's me. But, he's got his Russian name on his Instagram, where I'm like, oh, shit. And he's like a grown-ass dude now. And I was like, oh, damn, dude. And I was so hyped he was still riding and definitely seemed like, I'm not sure, but it seemed like he kind of had a integral part maybe in the scene and setting up contests and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, that's so awesome that like everything's growing there. But yeah, you look at Russia, and I don't think China's probably far behind on that.
No, they are.
You think so?
Mm-hmm. There's not as many riders. There's not many riders, and I don't. The scene is so much different.
Okay.
Maybe it's changed a lot since the last time I was there. I got deported, but that's a really long story.
Are you not allowed back there?
Not for like 5 to 7 years.
Okay.
So I think I have like another year or so.
Okay.
The last place I went to, the last few places were kind of left a bit of a mark on me. Mongolia was incredible. Mongolia. I went to Kyrgyzstan like for a second time. Tajikistan. Went on this road trip. I would say. We brought our bikes with me. I was with my friend Matt Samsky.
Yeah.
We rode. We rode the city. We rode the capital city, Dushanbe.
Yeah.
We rode there, which the things there. We stayed with a rider, and he put us up for about a week and a half.
Yeah.
We went on a road trip, in which I would say is arguably the most scenic road trip you could ever go on.
Yeah.
You could go for 1 week, or you could go for 1 month.
Yeah.
And you just go all through the Pamir Mountains. You stay in yurts. You meet people, and it was nothing like I'd ever experienced because we had our driver. He spoke English.
Yeah.
Not the best we did speak, but only way I could really interact with people outside of that group was if I used Russian. And I lived in Moscow a few years ago when I dated this Russian girl.
Yeah.
That's where I really started to learn Russian there and from living in Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah.
So that's how I communicated, especially through Central Asia, was using English.
Yeah.
And using Russian.
Yeah, because that's a very common language there.
Yeah.
Where's one of the, what are some of the strangest places that you found that people still are riding BMX and into it, Because there's some countries that you're like...
Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Mongolia, Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah. And are they they're legit riders over there?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Those places were, Yeah, we stay with like a a rider in Tashkent, Uzbekistan.
Okay.
Really, really nice family. Like some of the most hospitable people you could ever meet. And we stayed with him. He took us out riding, rode around the city, and there was like a group of, I don't know, like 20, 30 guys came out to
Really?
meet. Yeah, they're there.
That's awesome, man.
They're there. They're around. And they're on Instagram, whatever. The thing is, some of them, they don't speak English very well. And it helped me learning Russian.
Yeah.
I can communicate with them. But a lot of the riders, they don't understand. Russian ones, Ukrainian ones, any of the ones that speak Russian as a first language, even if they speak English, they don't understand by just changing their name and putting it in English on their
Instagram,
on the Facebook, does miracles for them. Because no one can read your name if you don't speak Russian.
Yeah.
You just see these weird little Cyrillics and okay, cool. Who's that guy? I just heard of this guy.
Well, like when I looked at Sasha's thing, he had his Russian name,
Yeah.
and I was like,
yeah. I mean, I understand it comes to them. It's just, it's intuitive for them to speak their first language and to write it.
Well, I always think it's cool that like there's that one Instagram account, BMX Africa.
Yeah, I met him and I met all those guys in Africa too.
Yeah, and it's cool because they'll post up the rider, if he does have an Instagram and what countries he's in, and it definitely, you can see it fluctuates through the continent.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting just to see.
Yeah, his name is Muksini.
What country is he from?
He's from Tanzania.
Okay.
When I went out riding with all those guys, I believe Vic Murphy went there too.
Yeah, Vic does a lot of like...
One of the guys that I rode with was a BMX acrobat. And he did like crazy like front flips and stuff over his bike.
Yeah.
And when I met him, he was like, "How do I branch out and meet more riders?" I said, "Man, make an Instagram page, whatever, and just scout around, see what riders are on your continent riding. You already know that there's riders in South Africa.
Yeah.
You know there's riders in Botswana, and you have riders that are here." And I told him I didn't meet any riders in Ethiopia, or I spoke to one in Uganda, the only rider in Uganda, and I rode a skate park there.
Okay, because there's starting to be more skate parks there. I think there's like outreach things.
Yeah, these little.
I know there's a skate park in Ethiopia now and stuff.
I rode that, but I don't know. They had a fundraiser there. They had like a GoFundMe account, and they campaigned for like $30,000.
Yeah,
and they made it, but it's poorly built.
Yeah,
they built it on some swampland. I rode it. The park was kind of fun. I filmed a video there, but the park was cracked within
because of the water table being in the swamp. Yeah,
the park had cracks all through it within the first like 2 months.
Damn.
But I mean, they had something.
Yeah,
it would be nice to see riders in those countries. Like I saw like probably 30 skaters in Ethiopia.
Yeah,
but no riders. I mean, the overhead on a BMX bike.
It's harder to get a bike. There was a kid that came in with his dad to the shop early this summer, and he wanted to ride BMX. I don't remember which country they lived in Africa. They were like Dutch, so I'm trying. I don't remember which.
Namibia. Oh, I mean Cape Dutch. So if you Namibia,
they were up north. So I think they were on the east side. Whatever, I don't, because all the European countries used to have, stuff down there. So
they spoke Dutch and like Afrikaans. So it'd be in South Africa.
They weren't South African. They were up north. But he was like, we've been wanting to get a BMX bike, but our postal service. He's like, if we ordered one, he's like, I know it won't make it there. It'll go through. So they bought a bike and got a bike bag, and the kid got to take a BMX bike home. So
nice.
They took it on the plane. Like I took it apart as what little I could, so that and showed him how to put it back together.
Yeah.
And I was like, you guys can always email me. I can help you. So, but yeah, it always just takes one dude on a BMX bike, and then all of a sudden you got 4 buddies, and it can just branch off from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's awesome seeing all the traveling pics, and you're just always curious to see where BMX sprouts up in, and what countries are.
That's one of the reasons why I go, because I'm like, what's out there? Like, the riders there. And
isn't India's scene kind of getting bigger?
Yeah, India has a scene. Their scene's getting bigger.
I remember seeing a web video that was actually pretty nice with and there seemed like a lot of ditches and stuff there.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, Joris Colombo made a dope video there. But yeah, there's all through Asia. There's riders in There's some riders in Armenia. There's riders in Georgia. There's riders in Senegal. There's riders in Nigeria. What place than what you thought? There used to be riders in Syria too.
It's just too crazy now.
Well, they were there years and years ago.
Yeah, when it was a little more stable.
I imagine they're all probably in Lebanon now.
Yeah,
somewhere.
And there's riders in Lebanon, isn't there?
Yep.
Yeah,
in Lebanon. There's riders in northern Iraq.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen pictures of Iraq, Kuwait. Does Saudi Arabia have riders?
Not that I know of. I know that people go out there and do demos. But I don't know if they have any riders. Yeah.
There's skate parks there. There's a dude I follow.
There's a new park that popped up in
it has a big bowl, right?
In Iran.
Oh, it's in Iran.
And in the capital. But now we can't just go there anymore now.
Yeah.
Like we need a tour guide to be there, like 24/7. So no, not happy about that one because Iran's been on my list for a long time.
Well, Iran looks amazing over there.
Yeah, I think there's riders in Azerbaijan. There's riders. I would say there's riders in at least 125 countries.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, I mean, now you've been in the States for a while, so kind of what's going on? You know, you just gonna kind of post up here for a little before your next trip and stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to Hawaii for my birthday.
That'll be nice. How old are you turning?
32.
All right, you're getting up there.
Yeah.
How's your bunny hop? Is it still holding on?
Actually, it is. Yeah, I'm still doing all right in the bunny hop department. You know?
I think I did good till I broke my ankle for the 5th time, and then it was like
5th time.
Yeah.
5 broken ankles.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, that's.
I just can't get the scoop. I mean, I can still bunny hop, but not like, I don't have that snap that I used to feel,
Yeah.
And I think it's just I can't get the pull with my ankle. But yeah, so you can take your bike to Hawaii, or you just kind of going for a chill trip?
So I'm gonna take it. Then I have a big filming project coming up. But
yeah, that's one thing. It's like, are you? I mean, I know you had the shook part, broke off part, but it's like, do you feel like you still, are you
my creation? So I feel like I still have the fire.
Do you want to put out like another just crazy part? Yeah, you trying to?
I do. The thing is, I've never been a part of a team with some massive budget.
Yeah.
To give me 3 or 4 years to really put my heart and soul in one project.
Yeah.
I've never had.
Because it seems like a lot of the projects you put out seem like, it's like, oh, I filmed for a month or a couple weeks or one city.
That's everything. Yep. I've never ever had like 2 or 3 years to film for a video part. Like I don't feel like I've ever been able to document my writing at its full potential.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm not even trying to. I don't want to sound insulted, but I kind of agree too. Like that's one thing. That's like I want to talk to Brad about it because, it's like I'd love to see that because I mean you ride everything, and It's funny because sometimes when I look at your writing, it seems like when you first came out, you were kind of known for, grinding up rails and some of the peg stuff. But then, as you've gotten older, it almost seems like, I mean, you definitely still do peg stuff.
Yeah.
But you definitely have a very unique way to look at street riding. I don't know if it's from traveling different countries where there's not everything's so rail focused, like the quick manual 180s and stuff. And, which I like. Like, I mean, I got 4 pegs on my bike, but I sure love seeing people just to take a different approach to street riding, Yeah,
I'm just about doing new creative things.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I'm not the most creative person, but I don't grind unless it's something that's like almost perfect.
Yeah.
And I like grinding, but I like riding on. I like using my just tires and stuff to do other things like wall ride stuff. It's easier on me. I don't feel like I'm breaking my bike. I'm not good. I'm not a great bike mechanic. So I know a lot of grinding.
A lot of dudes aren't.
So when I'm grinding, usually results in me having to fix my bike one way or another.
Yeah.
If I do a wall ride or some type of manual or whatever, I'm probably not going to need to fix my bike.
Yeah.
But I like to see what else is out there. I can see a rail, like, okay, yeah, it's a rail, it's there.
Yeah, but you're like, yo, I've done
1,000 rails, so, why not try to do something different?
No, and like I was saying, I've been kind of enjoying some of that new stuff, so, I'd just love to see some like a full piece of work put together because I think it'd be pretty awesome. So
I would love to have like work on like some type of like etnies project or whatever.
yeah,
Have three. I can't imagine. I can't
Yeah.
fathom having 3 years to put out your best work.
yeah.
You know.
If you put something out like that, would you want transition in it, or would you just try to make it street focused, or would you try to just show all your type of bike riding? Because you know how there's some dudes you're like, I know this dude rips everything, but he's just gonna film street for his part.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like I'd want to do like half of it be half of the part be dirt and transition.
Yeah.
And the other half just me going in on street.
Yeah. I mean, have you been enjoying riding the parks up here since you've
I
been here?
have. I'm definitely become like way more comfortable riding cement parks because I used to be terrified of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's not that many back east,
No.
but you've been definitely getting it. You've been riding Burnside. We had that good Westland session that day.
Burnside, Westland, Holly Park, Gabriel, Newburgh,
Tigard.
What's it? The one in Vancouver,
Yeah.
Washington.
Have you rode Pier yet? The big full pipe one. Tope lives up.
Yeah, I rode that one.
Yeah, yeah.
We rode that with him.
You like in waking up early and hitting Burnside?
Sometimes it's a battle, man, because
The park's so good.
it is the park. Burnside's fun, and I definitely want to get down there and ride some of the new stuff.
Yeah, I'm
But,
excited for it
it's
too.
just a battle because of the whole, the stigma behind it.
Yeah,
But no, I enjoy riding down there.
yeah. You want to go through some of the questions some people maybe sent in on Instagram?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, let me pull some of these things up. Let me go the goods one. Is there anything that you're thinking maybe we left out that we should have touched on or anything?
No,
I mean, I always tell people, I'm always like, we can do another one someday.
Yeah.
It's just fun to chat about them.
I mean it's good. I mean we're talking BMX. We're not going into like philosophy. Or
I mean, we
something.
can. I just like to.
No, we're good.
Yeah. I mean, I always just tell everybody, I'm like, we just talk about whatever, like, I just try to, just talk about bikes and have fun with it,
Yeah.
All right, let's hit some of these Instagram questions and see what we got. Okay, more comments. All right. Skelly all day wants to know what's your least favorite country and what's your favorite country you visited. I know that's kind of hard to break down, but is there one country that you're just not to like fully shit on it to where but like is there one that you're like you weren't psyched on, or maybe you went to really excited about and it just didn't live up to it? What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite one you visited?
No, I don't have a favorite country.
Okay.
I visited country No, I really don't. They're all so different.
Yeah.
I haven't even the countries where I've traveled and I had a bad experience. It wasn't. I said maybe sure it was a bad experience, but I still had a great time there.
Yeah.
I've never gone anywhere and just completely hated everything about this place.
It feels like it would be really hard to do because
Yeah.
everything feels so new in a new country. Is there any country you've went to that you've been kind of just like blown away? I feel like I've been wanting to go to Tokyo, and I feel like the first time I go to Japan, like I'm just gonna be like blown away.
Yeah.
Like, is there any country that you've been to that's like that?
Madagascar,
Yeah,
Namibia, yeah.
Madagascar's got just so much history. It's that place is crazy. All right, cool. Let's see. Okay. What's the Scumbag BMX wants to know what the best city you think you've been to for street riding?
Best city for street riding. God. Maybe Barcelona.
Yeah.
In a way.
I mean, it's kind of known for it,
I mean, if you're just there just to go, you're just riding and, you're it's just like a little BMX vacation almost.
Yeah.
You're gonna ride on the street and just For a street rider, yeah, you can just ride down the street and there's a spot at every corner.
Yeah, so Barcelona.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I had the most fun there, but I think it's probably the best in terms of if you want to, we're getting the most for
Most bang for your buck.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Ginja Ninja wants to know when you're going to go back, he's basically asking. We can just break it down like this. What was going through your head, kind of when you bunny hopped over the subrail at the Chandler Arizona Park? I think that was on Road Fools. What was that? That's like a 4 foot, 3 foot subrail into like a 7 foot quarter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, again, I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And I wasn't in the mood to ride park. And I don't think I don't think it had anything to do with me not wanting to ride park because transition wasn't anything out of the ordinary for me.
Yeah.
But it was 104 degrees.
Yeah.
Or something,
I was about to say it's probably so hot.
So I just wanted to get my trick and be done with it.
Yeah.
Be done with that session because there's only a handful of guys that were willing to ride that day. So it was just me, essentially putting on an act so I could,
Just feel like you produced something.
yeah, and go on to the next thing.
It was a sick clip, man. I remember that one sticking out.
Yes.
Moose in Lowell wants to know, what's the gnarliest situation you found yourself in traveling the world? Or the gnarliest one you want to let us know?
I was in Kenya with my girl and like over a year ago.
Yeah.
And the guy tried to rob us and I got stabbed.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
I think I told you about it. I'm writing a story about it right now. Right now I'm compiling all these stories for a book I want to publish.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
When do you have a timeline on it, or are you just kind of getting into it?
I'm pretty deep into it now.
Nice.
Hopefully sometime next year.
Oh, definitely.
Hopefully like early next year. We'll see.
Damn, I'd be really into that. But where'd you get stabbed at? If you don't
Lower back.
Yeah, that sounds like it sucks. You get stitched up and everything.
It was like an ice pick, so it was like just a puncture wound.
Yeah.
It wasn't deep. The doctor told me it was not really worth stitching up because he put just 2 or 3 stitches in it.
Yeah.
And he didn't puncture any organs or anything. So.
Damn.
That was good.
What country? You says Kenya?
Yeah, Mombasa, Kenya.
Were you guys just chilling and some dude just came up and like.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, we're not giving you anything, and he just went at you.
No, we were in the old Portuguese town, Mombasa, and we were talking, and the guy just kind of ran up, and he was like, "Hey, Rasta, hey, Rasta." He kept saying my name, and like not my name, but he addressed me as a Rasta because of my dreadlocks.
Yeah,
and he was like, "I like your tattoos. Where you from?" And while we were talking, some random crackhead just ran up and tried to snatch her purse.
So that dude's trying to get your attention.
Yeah. Tried to snatch a person and it escalated into probably one of the scariest situations I've been in my life.
Yeah, I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Bank Towall wants to know, what place right now to you feels like home?
Right now, what place feels like home? I don't know, but ask me that question in like 6 months, and I think I might have an answer for you.
All right. O'Malley323 says, if you could have any old BMX bike of yours, which one do you wish you still had around?
I wish I had one of my old Hoffman B-Rad frames.
You don't have one?
No.
Damn, if anybody out there's got a Hoffman B-Rad frame, DM him or me and we can try to get it to him. Yeah, that means if you got a signature frame, it'd be good to have one.
Yep.
Yeah, so if anybody's got one, hit us up. All right. Pirate Kurt wants to know, how'd you get hooked up with the White House guys?
I think Montana Ricky.
Okay.
Was good, close friends with Ben, and Ben hit me up. He sent me a message, and he told me he was already thinking about me.
Yeah.
Some companies have a tendency to like shy away from me now because I'm older, and people look at my lifestyle and like, okay, well, this guy has been living like a nomadic lifestyle for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
He probably wants some huge travel budget.
Yeah, yeah.
And I told Ben that's not the thing. And I was in Budapest at the time. We had a long talk. He told me, some things he would like to do and everything, and that's how that came apart.
Yeah.
And it came about.
How long have you been riding for them for?
For a year now.
Nice, nice. All right, let's see. I'm trying. Some of these are like the same questions over and over,
Yeah.
Patty Gross wants to know, what is something you've learned from all your travels that kind of sum up living on this earth? Like what's like an insight you can get from all the traveling you've done?
To just never lose your childlike curiosity. Like people tend to get older and
they close off.
Yeah, they get stagnant. They grow stagnant and they just quit learning. Like never stop learning.
I agree with you. I mean, that's one thing I try to talk to myself about. It's like as you get older, it's like people start restricting themselves to like a 10-block radius, and they get scared of anything that's new. And when they get scared, they become mean about it. And it's like, keep your eyes open. Look at what's going on. Enjoy what's going on. Something might be different, but when you were younger, something that was different, you were drawn to it and curious about it. And that's not always a bad thing,
No, not at all.
So, let's see. We went over that one. Somebody wants to know if you could talk about the origins of My Creation. That's, we can cut this part out.
So the what of My Creation?
He just wants to know if you can talk about the origins.
The origins. Dave Jacobs started it. He. Let me see. I remember Tony Nair being one of the first guys on there.
Yeah.
And it kind of happened went from there.
Yeah.
Dave invited me out to. He took us on a big team trip.
Yeah.
All through Canada.
I remember that trip. Yeah. Was it up towards Toronto and stuff?
Mm-hmm. Toronto. It was all through eastern part of Canada. Yeah, he took us on a trip, and it was Joe Cox, Tony Nair, Josh Scher, Doug Horton, Jeremiah. No, not Jeremiah. But Barney Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Alvarado.
I totally remember that trip, yeah. You guys rode that, like, big ledge, too? Like that 20-stair ledge or something?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
It was just Dave Jacobs.
It was just Dave Jacobs. He put together something, and, Chad helped him film stuff. Oh, and Eli Platt.
Oh, yeah. Damn, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that happened, and we filmed, and we made a video, and I lived out in... He moved to Long Beach, and I lived with him in California, like off and on for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And that's where I started filming My Creation video part. That's where it came about, the whole web video part.
Yeah. Yeah, because that was like right at the beginning of all that stuff, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Well, cool. That's all the questions. I mean, is there anything you think we missed out on or anything?
I think that covers everything. Thank everybody that has ever supported me.
Yeah.
People that continue to support me. All my sponsors, Merit BMX, 50/50 Trip, White House. Family, friends. Yeah. Thanks to you, Shad, for doing interview with me for this podcast.
Yeah.
Dig, everyone.
Yeah, the guys at Dig are always doing it. So, all right, cool, man. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me.